Free Japan Channel number 70. Today, April 6, Sunday. The time is at noon. Here in Yokohama, cherry blossoms are now at their best, blooming everywhere. So spring scene, very beautiful here in Japan, Yokohama. Dear friends, how are you doing? Today's FGC topic is Le Pen barred from presidential campaign. This is a very big news from France that Le Pen was barred from running for the next presidential election. In France, as well as in other European countries, the influx of immigrants is the most imminent, emergent social problem. And National Rally, whose leader is Madame Le Pen, is leading the public opinion in European continent. The opinion of National Rally is that they should limit the influx of immigrants and that the tradition, temporality, culture, conventions of France should be respected among all French people, which means immigrants who don't respect French tradition should not be there, should not be in France. Of course, National Rally is Democratic Party, although it is often called as extreme right by the media of the West. National Rally was established by the father of Madame Le Pen. At the time, the name was not National Rally, but National Front. In French, Front National. It was 80s and 90s. At the time, this party was really a racist party, anti-Semitist party. Therefore, it didn't gather extensive support from the French people. However, in the generation of Madame Le Pen, so his daughter, the color or the atmosphere of the party drastically changed. Even the name was transformed from National Front to National Rally, and even Madame Le Pen expelled her own father from the party, which this father had established in 1980s. It was obligatory for Madame Le Pen because in order to gather the extensive support, she had no choice but to banish her own father from the party. Now, the immigrant problem is deteriorating everywhere in Europe and in France. The percentage of immigrants in the total population accounts for 9% or 10%. The immigrants concentrate on the big city. If we go to Paris now, for example, we will be astonished at the number of immigrants who are not indigenous in France. The scenery of Paris has drastically changed, and many French people are worrying about this change. Then Madame Le Pen came to the political stage, and her remark or assertion that French should be the first, France should be the first, is welcomed by many French people. The next French presidential election will be held in 2027, 2 years in 2 years from now. And Madame Le Pen was the most influential or most leading candidate for this election. And this person, Le Pen, was verdicted now from the French court that she shouldn't or couldn't run for the next French presidential election. It was a very big surprise because almost everybody was thinking that Madame Le Pen will win the next presidential campaign. She is gathering so many supports from French people. And suddenly came this decision from the court. Why now? There are so many people who are doubting the presence of some organization which aim at the decrease of influence of National Rally. This organization or these organizations are now attempting to descend the National Rally from the French political arena. Of course, this is a conspiracy theory, and we should not believe in this story so easily. However, there are so many doubts, there are so many suspicions around this verdict about Madame Le Pen. Political factions is gathering the support across European continent, which means there are so many counter factions also appearing there. These counter factions are perhaps international, pro-immigrants, and perhaps socialist. We can't say exactly and definitely the presence of such conspiratory organization. However, there is no explaining the decision of the French court that Le Pen would be barred from presidential election next time, other than this conspiracy theory. When conspiracy theory is constructed, it is built on the very secretive basis. Therefore, we ordinary people cannot reach the true information about the conspiracy, of course. However, speculation and guess is available for us, isn't it? In this respect, I would like to continue to look for the real information about the verdict decision of French court. I was hoping that Le Pen would be the next French president. So it is coinciding with the presence of Mr. Donald Trump, who became the US president this year in January. Madame Le Pen was reiterating that the trend of global politics is moving toward conservatism. Of course, Madame Le Pen doesn't employ the word conservatism, but patriotism. Patriotism is her favorite word rather than conservatism. Anyway, whether we call it conservative or patriot, the movement toward the nationalism in a good sense is inevitable in present global politics. In this situation, the decision of French court is really out of blue. There were so many people who were astounded, who were astonished by this decision. What will happen next? This is our theme. Therefore, here in FGC, we will follow the latest information from France and from Europe. Thank you.